And good morning. Welcome to WGN-TV Political Report. I'm Paul Lisnek. We begin this morning in Washington, D.C., where two of Illinois' most prominent Republican voices are choosing different paths in the coming election year. While Adam Kinzinger shocked some by bowing out of Congress next year, this week, Rodney Davis solidified his position in party leadership, saying he'll forge ahead with a campaign for re-election. Now, Davis announced his plans last week after a lot of speculation that he was going to jump into the race for governor. Instead, he'll take a chance at a sixth term representing central and southwestern Illinois, this time in the newly drawn 15th district. I spoke with Representative Davis about his future in Congress and recent votes on the House floor. Congressman, thanks for joining me this morning. I appreciate it. So you announced this week you're going to seek an additional term in Congress, not run for governor. It's been a lot of speculation about that. I'm sort of curious what led to your decision. Was it that Congress is an easier path to victory and it now means staying in leadership in D.C.?
No, that's not the case. Anyone that knows me knows that I don't walk away from challenges. Challenges excite me. They energize me, which is why I've been able to keep a district now for 5 election cycles that was drawn for Democrats 10 years ago. I was open and clear to anyone who asked. My first preference was and has been and will be to run for re-election. I'm really looking forward to Republicans taking the majority in the U.S. House again. I'm really looking forward to being the chairman of House Administration to open this campus back up to all Americans. These are things that I've wanted to do, but my political future was dependent upon Democrats in Springfield setting that battlefield. And once they set the battlefield, drew a district that included my hometown and my home in what is the new 15th district. I'm the only incumbent who lives there. I was able to do our first choice.
Yeah, in many ways, Springfield was nice to you. Can't imagine why. Maybe they didn't want you to run for governor. So let me ask you about the governor's race for a moment. As you know, Ken Griffin is going all in against Pritzker. There's a kind of a wide variety of candidates there right now. I won't ask you if you have a horse in the race at this point, though you're welcome to tell me if you do. But do any one of them with Griffin money look like they can actually take on a very wealthy governor and actually win in November?
Well, look, I have not endorsed any candidate for governor. I've not spoken to Ken Griffin in a number of years, but I can tell you that the candidates that we have announced, we have some great candidates in that field. It may not be the final field. I don't know. But in the end, I think we're going to have a Republican governor because J.B. Pritzker has been a failed governor for the last 3.5 years.
Have you encouraged Adam Kinzinger to get in this race now that he's not running for Congress?
I have not. I've not encouraged anybody to get in the race. The good news about this election cycle, we don't really have to encourage Republicans to run for office at all levels, because we saw in Virginia, we saw in New Jersey, and we also saw even in Seattle, Washington, where a district attorney as a Republican was elected in Seattle. Republicans are coming out of the woodwork. We're going to surprise Democrats, not just in Illinois, but throughout this great nation in November of 2022. And I really believe the Democrats who drew this gerrymandered congressional map, I think they overreached, and they're certainly going to get a surprise with the Republican victories that I think we'll have in sending Republicans to Congress next November.
By the way, just briefly, you made a comment like that also at the delegation dinner that Dick Durbin sponsored this past week. Usually it's a Democrats only show up. You showed up, the only Republican. Why?
You know, it was on my schedule, and I saw that the mayor was going to be there, and I went into the reception, and I hadn't been to many delegation meetings for the past few months, and I didn't expect to be the only Republican, but I was. But look, I'm here to work for what's best for Illinois, and they all know me well enough to know that I'm not going to be shy in offering my opinions, even in front of them. And I did, and I do believe that we're going to see big Republican victories that will surprise them and surprise every Democrat in Illinois.
History would tell us that the Republicans will take over the House next year. We'll just go with that as a concept. You'd become chair of the House Administration Committee, and that means you would be dealing with issues like Capitol security, federal election reform, all of which is in the news, not for the best of reasons. I'm just sort of curious, what do you say to your own party who are downplaying what happened on January 6th and push these false theories that the election was stolen?
Well, my own party's not downplaying what happened on January 6th. I'll tell you what's being downplayed right now is why the security at the Capitol was in such terrible shape before January 6th. And that's an issue that I've been trying to address since that day. Look, as the ranking member of the House Administration Committee, I was briefed on the security posture of the Capitol Police and the entire apparatus the day before. And trust me, nothing in that briefing led me or anyone to believe who was in that room with me that we would see what we saw on January 6th. We now know through Inspector General reports, we now know that intelligence, active intelligence, was received by the U.S. Capitol Police Intelligence Division and not even relayed to the Chief of Police. There are intelligence failures and failures within the system that secures the Capitol that I will tell you still have not been addressed. And frankly, Speaker Pelosi is stopping my committee from getting the communications and the email traffic from the Sergeant at Arms, who is her direct political appointee that's in charge of the security apparatus on the House side. The Capitol Police Chief cannot make a single security decision without going through the Sergeant at Arms. That Sergeant at Arms was fired the next day by the Speaker, and the Speaker's own general counsel has not complied with my preservation order from my committee. Others have. The Capitol Police have. The architect of the Capitol have. My question is, what are they hiding? And why aren't we addressing the security problems that led our very brave Capitol Police officers to be put in a very untenable position?
Well, good to see you support them, and there's, obviously attacks on them as well. I'm going to have to move on just because of time. If Republicans take over, you'd also be in line to lead the Transportation Infrastructure Committee. You were a no vote on infrastructure. It was a bipartisan bill. I know your issue was that it was going to be tied to the human infrastructure bill, but what do you say? Well, let me first ask you this. What kind of projects and roads will get done in your district as a result of the bill that did pass, but you voted no?
Well, that's never up to us. We haven't been able to earmark projects and funding for projects in our district for a matter of years. That's up to the governor and the Illinois Department of Transportation to get those funds out. And frankly, they're not doing as good a job as they can right now getting the funding that we've given them in bipartisan CARES Act packages and in infrastructure bills that I voted for in the past.
Well, let me just ask you, if hypothetically you get roads and bridges done in your district, let me just give me that for a moment. What will you say to constituents who say, Congressman, this is great. We got roads, we got bridges. Why'd you vote no?
Well, I don't answer hypotheticals, but I can tell you we can take credit for a lot of roads and bridges that are being built or planned to be built with the infrastructure packages that we've supported. Look at the CARES Act. Look at our pandemic relief bills. And I will tell you, we'd spent for things like transit, things like airports, upwards of 9 times on an annual basis we spent in the bipartisan pandemic relief packages to help those facilities with infrastructure investments than what this bill is going to spend for those areas over the next 5 years. This bill, you don't have to believe me that it was intertwined. Joe Biden, my colleague Pramila Jayapal, they said these two bills were intertwined. And all you have to do is look at the vote totals on the Build Back Broke program, and you can see there was only one moderate Democrat that voted against it. The rest, they signed an agreement that they would vote for the Build Back Broke program if the far left didn't hold them hostage anymore and voted for the infrastructure bill.
Just very briefly, is your issue on the infrastructure, on the human infrastructure plan, if you will, on those programs? I'm assuming you like things like the healthcare pieces for seniors and all that. Is it about the pay for? Is that the problem?
Look, you have multi-trillion-dollar bills. We can always find something that's good in those bills. They're huge. But the bottom line is they're going to be crippling tax increases and fee increases on every single American family at a time where this administration is doing nothing to address the inflationary crisis that American families are seeing in their pocketbooks and at the grocery stores. This administration is not addressing the border crisis we have at our southern border, where you have 11,000 people. That's the size of my hometown, living under one bridge in Del Rio, Texas. Instead, they exacerbate the problem with the Build Back Broke program that they call human infrastructure by basically not addressing the border crisis at all and encouraging more illegal border crossings. We also have not seen this administration address the violent crime issues that we're seeing in our cities and our communities. These are issues that need to be addressed rather than just raising taxes on every family and small business in this country and implementing Green New Deal policies that are going to cripple jobs in my district and cripple our economy.
The way the maps got drawn, it looks like Mary Miller will run against Mike Bost. I'm not going to ask you who wins that election, but Miller, very Trump-oriented Congresswoman. Mike Bost, not as much so. What is the tenor of the Republican Party in Illinois? Is this a Trump-like state, or is it a more moderate yet conservative Republican state?
Look, I'm a Republican who believes that we can all be in the same tent together. We all have our core values and our conservative principles that we never sacrifice. But there are ways that we can all work together to make sure that we govern this country, because there are things that we have to do at every level of government to make sure that our cities are safe, make sure that our cops and our law enforcement officers get the funding they need to actually address crime in our neighborhoods, and make sure that our prosecutors get the funding and the personnel they need to be able to prosecute those who break the law. So I'm excited that we've got such excitement within the Republican Party in states like Illinois right now. Candidates coming out of the woodwork. You're going to see victories that many Democrats haven't expected for years in Illinois. And I think November of 2022, we're going to change America for the better.
You know, some economic indicators actually look good in the state, but people don't feel, not in the state, in the country, but people don't feel like the economy is doing well. What do you recommend? Is it a messaging thing?
No, that's a problem that my Democratic colleagues have. They always think everything's about messaging. No, there are things that you can do policy-wise that will cripple our economy. And that's spending another almost $2 trillion in the Build Back Broke program and raising taxes on those small businesses who are still trying to recover from a pandemic. These are the types of issues that distinguish Democrats from Republicans. That's why you're going to see Republicans in Illinois in many congressional districts win, because we have better ideas, we have better policies, and the Democrats clearly, in less than a year of controlling the White House, the House, and the Senate, have shown they can't address inflation, they won't address the border crisis, and they have no intention of putting criminals in prison where they belong.
Finally, will you support Kevin McCarthy if he runs for Speaker, if Republicans take over? I say that because you see the way he's handling some of the difficult members of your party. He's trying to juggle everybody. Most people say because he just wants to be Speaker. Would you be behind him?
Oh, I'm absolutely behind Kevin McCarthy to be Speaker of the House. I agree with my colleagues like Jim Jordan and many, many others that Kevin's done a great job. Look, I certainly wish Speaker Pelosi would have the microscope on her as much as Kevin McCarthy does when some of our members have some issues with each other. That happens all the time within the Democratic Party. That's why the Democrats and President Biden and many of my colleagues tied the infrastructure bill to the Build Back Broke program. They don't get that microscopic view that the Republicans get, and that needs to change.
Congressman Rodney Davis of the 13th District, soon to be the 15th District. Thanks for your time. I know you're in Washington, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Great to talk with you. Thanks for having me on.